Welcome to another video, and in today's video we have Worlds End results and reactions. Just got to watch the pay-per-view. Interesting pay-per-view. We'll kind of get into it at the end of the video and throughout the video, just overall opinions on it. But yeah, we're not going to cover the pre-show. Well, if you want to know who won, though, we had Willow Nightingale beat Chris Statlander. Killswitch, aka Luchasaurus, won the 20-man Battle Royale, and Hook beat Wheeler Yuta in the FTW Championship match. But starting on the main card, we had the 8-man tag of the Continental Classic All-Star match, where we had Claudio and Danielson, Mark Briscoe, and Daniel Garcia pick up the win over Brody King, Jay White, Jay Lethal, and Roosh. How do you feel about this match, and what do you think?
Yeah, I thought it was decent. I wish they might have would have started the pay-per-view off a little bit stronger, because the front half of the pay-per-view felt a little not bad, but just not as how good the ending was.
Yeah.
But the match overall was pretty good. Jay White and Daniel Bryan had a pretty big moment in the ring. The crowd really popped for that when they had a big face-off. They had a pretty good 2 or 3 minutes before they tagged out. But yeah, not too much to really talk about with this one, I feel like. It was just kind of, 8-man tags are always kind of hard to keep up with. It's like a lot of stuff going on. And this isn't the only 8-man tag match as well, so it's just a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, what do you think?
I didn't watch the beginning of this match, but I did catch like the tail end of it. From what I've seen, it seemed solid. Nothing. I might have to go rewatch it to maybe get a full opinion, a better opinion on this. But from what I've seen, didn't look too bad. But yeah, the faces pick up the win. Next up we had Miro and Andrade. Now this one was actually a solid match. I enjoyed it. I think it was what it was. In the end, Miro wins this match with CJ Perry helping him out. She kind of, as Andrade is going for a figure 8, she kind of chops off his arms and kind of, makes him lose his balance, so he loses the hold. Miro comes in, hits his move, and then gets him the submission, gets the win. So it looks like we're gonna get CJ back with Miro. They kind of didn't fully get together after the match, but they kind of teased it. It looked like.
Yeah, she blew him a couple of kisses from the outside of the ring. But yeah, really good match. Potentially this one should have been the opener. Mm-hmm. Maybe this is the match I was talking about that should have been the opener. But I guess, since you have 2 8-man tag matches, you probably want to separate them by like quite a few matches. Yeah. So I guess I'll see why they started it.
Yeah, and then after this, we had Timeless Toni Storm retain her championship against Riho. And this was solid again. Nothing crazy happened. A few moments I was like, that's there's a bit like, I'm gonna say sloppy, but a bit lackluster of just things that happened in this match. But overall, it was solid.
Yeah, Riho hit a big 619. She went for the finisher, but Toni Storm kind of rolled out of the ring. They took it out there for a little bit. She hits a pile driver, which I thought was going to be the end of the match there, but she ended up kicking out. But eventually she did end up picking up the win, and she had a big moment as well at the end of the match where they put the black and white camera on, and what's her name? Maria May?
Yeah, Maria May.
Maria May. She came in and she had like a wine bottle, and they said on commentary, they were like, oh yeah, she has a wine case, but there's no wine bottle on the inside. And then she revealed that it was like roses, and she starts throwing roses all over the ring. So I guess that was pretty cool. The match was decent, I guess, but I guess it was what I expected. I thought Toni Storm would win, and she did.
Yeah. Then after this, we had Swerve Strickland defeat Dustin Rhodes. Now, obviously, on a prediction video, you would have seen it was Swerve and Keith Lee. However, Keith Lee wasn't medically clear for the pay-per-view, which I don't know if they knew this going into it. Keith Lee on Twitter had said basically he's been injured since Arthur Ashe 2022, which if that's the case, I don't know what is going on, because he has had matches since then and stuff like that. Maybe it's just getting the injury's getting reactivated or whatever's happening with him. Obviously, hope the best for him and he can come back healthy. But this was actually a solid match for it being replaced by Dustin, who is like, I like him, but he's just out of his prime, obviously, and you don't know how much he can offer in the ring, but he came out, Swerve hit him or attacked him before the bell even started and destroyed his left ankle, I believe. But overall, still a solid match, and Swerve does get the win here.
Yeah, Dustin does. He does a throwback to his Goldust days and does a curtain call as the referee's back was turned at one point. That was a pretty cool moment that the crowd popped for. And yeah, they just had can't say some of the words that he was saying during the match, but if you watch the match, you know what I'm talking about. But they had like a cool little back and forth in the ring, and then Swerve pretty much just chopped them down so he was done, and he ended the match. But pretty good match. Kind of random, like you said. Kind of, I guess, like a typical last minute thrown together thing with Keith Lee that AEW did, and then very, very last minute it switches over again. Would have preferred to see Keith Lee, obviously. But like you said, hope he's doing good, and we see him back in the ring soon.
After Swerve and Dustin, we had the other 8-man tag match where Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Sting, and Darby Allin pick up the win over the Don Callis family and Big Bill and Ricky Starks. This match, in my opinion, I didn't really care for. I know you had a different opinion, but for me, just there's a few moments where it was a bit sloppy. Another thing to note was the crowd was not with Jericho tonight. Obviously, some stuff that came out early in the day, which makes sense why people weren't behind them, and I'm not going to really get too much of it because I don't know too many details, but besides that, yeah, this match just wasn't really it. Just a few sloppy moments with Sting and Jericho, really. What did you think?
Yeah, it was just, it was pretty good. I liked it myself. The ending was a little weird to me. That has like a little gimmicky with Chris Jericho. He was kind of getting Sting to do all his just regular stuff that he would do, his like signature call outs and moves and everything. But yeah, it was a little gimmicky at the end, but overall I did like it for what it was. It was not like it was supposed to be some 5-star classic match. Obviously this is like Sting's farewell tour, as well as like trying to help build up Darby and potentially Takeshita, which he did kind of sub in towards the end a few days ago. But yeah, pretty good match. Not the greatest, but I still enjoyed it.
I mean, one part I did like is, I think it was Takeshita, or maybe is it Takeshita or Hobbs, and they were just destroying Darby. He had a crazy suplex where he jumped on the top of his head. Then Big Bill and Hobbs were tossing him around the ring, which is one of probably the best moments in the match in my opinion. But yeah, it was okay. But next up we had Julia Hart versus Abaddon in a house rules match for the TBS champion, which Julia Hart does pick up the win. This match didn't care for. It was okay. In the end, Sky Blue gets involved and she basically helps Julia Hart win. Seems like they are going to go the route of Julia Hart and Sky Blue. I'm assuming that ends with Sky Blue probably winning the TBS champion. But yeah, this was okay for the best.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure what I was expecting from the match, but I think I was expecting maybe a little bit more from it. But yeah, it was still decent overall, I guess. Abaddon didn't look as dominant as she has been in the past. She looked a little bit weaker versus Julia Hart, I guess. Yeah, I mean, Julia Hart showed her athleticism awful lot in this match, and that's kind of, that's what the match was.
Yeah. And after this, we had Adam Copeland versus Christian Cage in a no DQ match for the TNT champion. Now, this match is actually probably one of the best matches of the night, probably second or third best, whatever. But yeah, really good match. Adam Copeland came out in his WrestleMania 22 gear with the short sleeve jacket kind of thing. If you know, you know. But yeah, this match was pretty good. I'll kind of let you get into the middle and just your opinions on it.
Yeah, overall, the match was good. I'll get into the ending a little bit later because I didn't really care for that part. But the whole match, it was just, it was basically what I said in the prediction video. Like, Edge was going to try to put on a big banger and have, his one standout match finally in AEW. And I think this did kind of deliver on that. I think he'll still have a better match than this. I think if he still has more in his tank, then I think he'll probably surpass this one with another one. But it was good. He had a big moment where he jumped off the like Section 104 or whatever they said on the announce team, and he lands on Christian and a couple security guards or whatever. That was a pretty cool moment to see him put his body through that at his age, and with all the wear and tear he's had. He does the little, I forget what it was called, but the little somersault into the ladder, like the slingshot into the ladder, I think it was called. There was just a lot of cool moments like that. But towards the end, well, I guess I should say this as well. Before we get to the ending, they have a big moment where the whole crowd, the whole entire match basically is saying, "We want fire," and they're just going nuts. They're putting their bodies through the line, going through all this crazy stuff, and they're still chanting it. But obviously, it was gonna happen, and it did. Nick Wayne sets up the table on the outside. He puts the lighter fluid on the outside, but it instantly goes out. So Edge makes up for it. He kind of spears Christian, and he goes on the outside and gets the lighter fluid himself, pours it on there, and gets it started. And then, unfortunately, Nick Wayne took a hell of a fall. He went to powerbomb him through the flaming table, and he missed the table. And his tailbone kind of clipped the table, and he kind of landed on his head, which was a pretty scary fall, but he seemed to be fine after that. So pretty scary there, but then we get to the ending where Edge does pick up the win. However, as he's celebrating, what happens?
So if you remember what I said earlier, I said kill switch. Okay, Luchasaurus does win that battle royale. What I didn't know, I think it was said, but I kind of just didn't pick up on it, was that this was basically a Money in the Bank briefcase, basically, for TNT champion, where you can just cash it in anywhere you want. And kill switch comes out after Edge is celebrating, holding the belt up. He comes behind him, he chokeslams him through a chair, and he's about to cash in his contract, but then Christian comes in and is like, "Do not do it, do not do it." He gets in his face telling him like not to do it. I think he whispers something in his ear.
Give it to me, I'm assuming.
I don't know what he says. Obviously, it's a whisper, but I feel like that is part of the future story part, I'm guessing. We kind of just figure out why Luchasaurus is doing all this stuff for him and being so lenient towards him. But yeah, Christian gets the contract. He signs his name on it. He cashes in the contract and picks up the win basically immediately after hitting. I forget his finishing move, but kill switch, I think was that it? I don't know.
No, that's Luchasaurus' name.
But I think kill switch is also the move. But yeah, either way, he hits his finisher. He wins this match. I know you don't like it, but for me, I kind of get it because somebody made a good point on Twitter of saying the entire match was basically callback to Edge's or Adam Copeland's career. Obviously, the gear of WrestleMania 22, the table of WrestleMania 22, and then getting edged, which is just cashing in the contract after somebody just wins the title. So I kind of get it. Obviously, I know you're not too big a fan, and I'll let you kind of explain more.
I think the main reason why I don't like it is because I just don't get why Luchasaurus is just so, like, giving to Christian. Like, he just gives him everything. Obviously, he's, like, super resistant to it. He doesn't just, like, immediately give it to him.
Yeah.
He kind of fights with himself on the inside. So, obviously, like you said, there's something that we don't know yet, like some part of the story that hasn't been told that we'll probably find out soon. Or at least I hope so. But I just really didn't get it. Really didn't like it. Edge had a moment. He won. And I was happy with it. The match was good, and then that happened. It kind of put like a sour taste in my mouth a little bit. It wasn't terrible. Like you said, I kind of see like where they're going with it, I guess. But I just didn't really care for it. And also after even that, they kind of give him a lot of camera time.
Yeah.
Just like as he's like exiting the ring and walking to the back, they just give him a ton of credit. Like talking about him a lot. Ton of camera time. It was like a full maybe 2 minutes of just him just walking to the back basically, where they kept the camera on him. So I'm curious what that was about. If they were just kind of buying time until the next match maybe, or I don't know what it was, but it was kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know where Edge goes from this, or Adam Copeland, just because he's been in the company for what, 2 months now, 3 months, and we've only seen him wrestle 3 people basically, and that's Christian, Darby, and Luchasaurus, or Killswitch now. But yeah, like I don't know where he goes from this. I'm guessing we get Christian or Luchasaurus back and forth now. But yeah, it's kind of just a weird finish, but I kind of like it. But I can understand why you don't like it. But yeah, on to the next match, which is the co-main event, which is Eddie Kingston versus Jon Moxley in the Continental Classic Final. Now, this match is probably my favorite match of the night. I really enjoy this. A lot of back and forth, a lot of just hard-hitting, stiff shots between the two men, which you know, kind of expect from a Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston match. But yeah, really enjoy this. What did you think?
Yeah, I think this is going to be my favorite match of the night. Eddie Kingston kind of hyped it up a little bit before in a promo that he had, and he delivered on it. It was really good. They put each other through hell through the match. They just beat the shit out of each other, basically. They had a moment where I guess Jon Moxley told him to give him 100% or whatever, and he starts giving him the chops in every corner in the ring. So he took about 40 like hard hitting chops. Yeah. So I can only imagine how his chest felt after that. Yeah. But you know, towards the end, obviously, Eddie Kingston does end up picking up the win over Jon Moxley. So he is a Triple Crown champion. He gets the first. What is the new title called? I think it's just inaugural or something, or inaugural something.
Just the inaugural American Triple Crown.
Yeah. Okay. Inaugural Triple Crown champion. So he holds the belt now. And yeah, so he put the belt on the line, all his belts on the line. He fought through every man in the Intercontinental Classic. Every man fought each other in the Intercontinental Classic, and he still came out on top. So it makes him look really strong. So I'm super excited to see what they do with him in 2024. Are we going to potentially see a world title on him? Could he go, you know, after a Christian? Could he go after who, you know? Yeah. So I'm curious to see what he does.
Yeah, and like you said, it just felt like this. I'm glad they did to let Kingston win. It just felt right. I think, like I said in our prediction, Moxley just didn't need this win. I think Kingston just needed it, and I think this would help him way more. Yeah. After the match as well, they kind of hugged and they embraced each other, which is nice because I'm sure they're best friends off camera, and they do seem like similar personalities. But yeah, really good match. And yeah, that's the end of your Continental Classic. Seems like we're gonna get it next year. And yeah, excited to see what's next for this stipulation and tournament.
Yeah, I believe Daniel Bryan did confirm on the announce table that we are getting it during the match, so we are getting it next year.
And then next up, in the main event, we had MJF taking on Samoa Joe for the World Championship. Now, for this match, MJF comes out to a really cool like opening segment. He has like some people from Long Island coming out, and you have to watch it on Twitter. It's a really funny video. But then as they're about to get announced, Adam Cole comes out. He's with his best friend. Obviously they're there to support him and stuff like that. This match I really enjoyed. One of my, probably the third best match. And as you can see, this entire card was the last three match heavy. Everything else didn't care for. It was just mid. These last three matches were just really good and just had a really good story in them. But yeah, Samoa Joe basically just has MJF's number in the entire match. He basically focuses on that hurt shoulder that MJF already has. At one point, Samoa Joe hits a muscle buster on like the apron, but like as he goes down, MJF's arm like rings over each rope, which is just really nasty, and just I can tell that probably really hurt him. But yeah, what did you think? And I'll let you also get into the finish as well.
Yeah, I think it started a little slow for me. At the beginning, I was kind of like, okay, the pacing is really slow, and there was like a lot of time left, so I was like, okay, that obviously, you know, something's gonna happen during this match, which we kind of predicted already. But yeah, it was a little slow at the beginning, but it picks up, and he's kind of fighting through his shoulder injury, his Librium or whatever. At one point, the referee gets knocked down because he kind of goes backwards with Samoa Joe into the turnbuckle. He knocks the ref down. Samoa Joe goes up on top of the turnbuckle. He hits him with a low blow. Referee obviously is knocked out during the time. Still doesn't get the win after that. He basically does everything. He tries the kangaroo kick multiple times, can never kind of get it to land on him. Joe always reverses it, moves out the way. And yeah, he was just very like kind of tricky throughout the match and kind of working that shoulder the entire time. He was doing like senton bombs onto the shoulder, just literally everything you could think of. But he beats him clean. Samoa Joe does end up winning. I forget what it's called, like a TKO, I guess.
Coquina clutch. Oh,
No,
yeah,
I know
or,
what that
yeah,
is.
yeah, by TK, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting as well because after Samoa Joe's down and the ref's down, and Jeff goes over to Adam Cole and is like asking for the diamond ring, and he's trying to get it for him. He can't really find it in his pockets. He finally eventually gets it. He hands it to MJF, but Joe gets him in the coquina clutch. He gets into the corner, kind of rolls him backwards, but Joe keeps it on, keeps it in, and lets or makes MJF pass out. And it was weird as well because the referee Bryce, he kind of is like, he goes holds up the arm for one, he drops it, holds up for two, he drops it, he holds up for three, and like about like, oh, it's good, or he's good. But then the arm drops again. He's like really confused almost, and it's like, it kind of makes you think like, is this real? Like, was this an accident? But yeah, Joe is your new AEW World Champion. After the match, Adam Cole's trying to console his best friend, and then out comes for the henchmen. They come out and are just about to attack him. They hold both of them down. One has a chair, is about to hit each one of them, and all of a sudden lights go out, and then lights come back on, and the four henchmen are behind Adam Cole as he sits in the chair, and the devil is Adam Cole. Bit predictable, however, it makes the most sense, and I'm happy for it. I'm glad it's not something like a Jungle Boy who no one really wanted it to be. But behind the mask were everybody from the Kingdom and Wardlow, which makes sense. I was really hoping for Kyle O'Reilly because I just want him back in wrestling. He's a great character and a great wrestler. I'm just waiting for him to be back. But unfortunately, that's not tonight. But yeah, it seems, and Amco does seem actually injured, which that was one of the things I was like, if he comes back into the devil, he might not be injured, but it does seem like he is still injured. Maybe we get some Wardlow at MJF for a little while, or maybe, like I said, MJF takes some time off to play into the whole contract negotiation of 2024. But yeah, this match was very good. I like the finish. It just makes Joe look like the biggest badass and the biggest, biggest guy in the world, because now he's the AEW champion. I'm interested where he goes next. Some people he can face. But yeah, very good match. Overall, on the show, it's one of the weaker AEW pay-per-views of the year. I'll say that for sure, just because we don't, in AEW, you get at least like 5 to 6 good matches and like some other mid ones, but this one, I think it's about like 2 to 3 mid ones and like 3 good, like really good matches. But everything else was like pretty poor and just not that great in my opinion. But yeah, what is your overall thoughts on the pay-per-view?
Yeah, I didn't watch the pre-show myself, so I don't really have an opinion on those. As far as the main card, I kind of feel the same. I just don't really like the way that AEW kind of puts everything together last minute. Obviously, WWE sort of does the same thing too, like, but at least you kind of know the direction. I feel like when WWE does it, like, you can kind of guess, like, this match is gonna be on the card. They just didn't announce it yet. It didn't really feel like that with this pay-per-view specifically. Like literally, we were checking, the page to see, what the card was actually like, and it was just like 1 or 2 matches all the way up until like this Monday or Tuesday or something, where Tony kind of announced a few matches online. But yeah, it was kind of weird for that, so not a whole lot of build behind it. And then some of the matches that did have build behind it, such as the Keith Lee and Swerve one, got replaced very, very last minute with Dustin. Takeshita got put in also like pretty last minute, few days beforehand. So it was a little weird, but it was good. We got the double reveal, so we got what we wanted. That was the big payoff, obviously, of the pay-per-view to get that moment. I just wish AEW would cut down on the matches by like 3, maybe.
Yeah. Another thing I'm interested in is with the Young Bucks as well being out for, or kind of taking a hiatus, they kind of said. I feel like eventually with Adam Cole and like this Devil Henchman group, it feels like eventually maybe we could get a Super Click reunion and like a big elite reunion as well with Adam Cole officially there. Maybe he drops, Roderick Strong, Wardlow, and the rest of the Kingdom for the Young Bucks and like Omega or Paige. And yeah, I'm just interested where AW goes from this, because there's a lot of things you can do. Everything, all the storylines seem to be done almost. Like Edge and Christian feels like it's over. Maybe it's not, but as of right now, it just feels like that. Keith Lee and Swerve obviously hasn't happened, so that seems like it's gonna be in 2024. But yeah, most matches feel like the end of feuds. Obviously, MJF probably goes on with Wardlow or Adam Cole. But yeah, interesting time, interesting way to end the year. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, for our pay-per-view, you know, for the very last pay-per-view of the year. Maybe it's kind of what they wanted. Maybe it's like the theme of the pay-per-view, like World's End, where, you know, we're ending all the feuds and we're starting fresh at the beginning of the year. But it was also noted that this is going to be the final pay-per-view, potentially, until Revolution, which is a few months away into March. So I'm really curious to see what kind of build they'll do, because that's a lot of time for them to, you know, get to March and build whatever that your next feuds are going to be. What is Darby going to be doing? What is Christian going to do next? What is Edge going to do? What is Adam Copeland going to do next? You know, there's just a lot of questions going now, so I think that might be good and work for AEW, because you'll just be curious to see what does happen next, you know?
Yeah, there's some other news as well that has been floating around today, is that Andrade could be potentially done with AEW as soon as tonight, so World's End could be his last appearance. I've seen a few rumors from people like Boozer who have said that he could be potentially showing up in Monday Night Raw on Monday, and we could see Andrade there, which would be kind of crazy to see. You know, he's somebody who WWE wanted him to be bigger, but under Vince McMahon it maybe couldn't have happened, but now with Triple H under control, you know, we could get a different packaging of Andrade, so that should be interesting. Also,
Or it's Goldust.
Yeah, could be Goldust. Obviously, on this upcoming Raw, they did announce that a former WWE World Champion who is not on the roster will appear. I have kind of under the assumption it's going to be Batista, and it's going to be him being inducted or announced for the Hall of Fame, because it seems like they kind of need to start building that up with WrestleMania in just 4 months now, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, that is our last video of the year. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, thank you for an amazing year. If you want to close, I'll let you close it out.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys. This was definitely our best year, our second year, obviously. And we're going to move on to our third year, and hopefully we do bigger and better things. We'll try to upgrade everything and, you know, do better for y'all, because y'all are doing better for us. So we appreciate you. And yeah, we'll catch you guys